Very brave to come up and share.
I was thinking about creating a support group for this.
Burning Man support thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I have heard so many tales, and I've always wanted to go there, but I don't think I will. Anyway, so thank you, Hannah. Welcome and come back, like you say. Now, we're going to read the next five up. We have Raven, Wendy, Cesar, Al, and Garrett. Those are the next five. So, Raven, would you kindly come out here and warm the mic with the captain and the let's treat him like he's a new person because he hasn't been here in a while.
I'm back. I'm a San Francisco native. I actually used to live up on Willard North, and I used to come down here pretty regularly, but I've been away for 10 years, living across on the other side of the world in Ireland. It's
Oh, for God's sakes.
funny where love will take you. But I'm back to celebrate my 50th birthday, and really glad to be here.
Birthday!
Thank you. Not yet. Actually, the gypsies say it's unlucky for you to be wished happy birthday before it's actually your birthday, isn't it? So, thank you all for
Tell me it was good.
Yeah.
All right.
But I never
here we go.
trusted that guy.
Yeah, but gypsies. I know. But it's funny because this is actually, I'm probably only going to have time for this one. It's a bit of a story. But just kind of by way of preamble, I used to work in a homeless shelter. It was actually one of the first jobs I had when I moved to Dublin. And one of the funny things was almost every single person living in that homeless shelter had posters of hip-hop gangster rappers up on their walls halfway around the world. And I started thinking to myself, well, what's up with that? And I realized that these were the people who had felt like the system had failed them. And they were looking to these outlaw heroes as some sort of inspiration. But I had to tell them that I come from an Afrocentric family in America, and I know real outlaw heroes. And this is the retelling of a story about one of them named High John the Conqueror. Now, High John's was a story of an African prince who was sold into slavery, but who never succumbed to it. They say he always had one up on old master. But being a trickster, High John got himself into as much trouble as he got himself out of. And that's why I do this one. Because it's a spirit that haunts young men and women living in poverty, not only here, not only in Dublin, but all over the world. Because y'all know what they say, tell the truth and shame the devil. And I cry, Eshu Legba, tell the truth and shame the devil. Brer Rabbit, Anansi, tell the truth, like we done told it. So many times rewriting ourselves from hints of glory in this palimpsest flesh. Witness and evidence of all come before. Tell you what I know, wasn't told like this, the way they put it down. And ain't nothing rang true since in the yearning tenses of the tangible and coveted. And in that violent grammar that we shadowed in translation, well, I was made to spare a lyric, but strip the gut from a git box, you make a birdhouse. From bodies dancing on air, you get music. They're hanging weight, pulling the lines, taught to singing like fretted strings. Of fettered things know too well the difference between desires and wings and Lord. It seems straight razor crazy. But we sang glory, glory, feeding on cabbage water in chitlins. Cracked bones after the meat was gone to suck out the marrow. And after that, ate what we scraped off the walls. And after that, fed on faith till turned sour, it tasted of desperation. Between mouthfuls, we signified preacher to pusher to pimp, played a fool, to posture, to protect, to pitch woo. To eat a little higher on the hog when recognizing ourselves slaughtered and dressed by circumstance. Our own awful, always lawfully served up polite on a plate, but damned if it didn't still stink. I knew it. I knew it kin to that nervous odor worked up in days of running rabbit. an inward thing you couldn't wash out if you'd sold your soul to the devil for soap. I knew it in that gospel, and that blues, and the jazz stains and hip-hop refrains stuck fast to tar baby's gut punch for speechlessness, so I sat silent amongst the bulls, setting them alight. Now that's signifying, and lighting out before dawn did. The sweat on my back evaporating with the speed I put between me and them in tall cotton. Oh, it was years before they caught on. By then, hell, I was long gone. And them peeling back houses like onions, hollowing down hollow logs. Shaky beams hoping to catch the back of my eyes a shining, or watching for me coming face down on that river and just as swollen. But I breach all levees. I breach all levees. Them on towns, them on wages, and them on souls. See, Louisiana built in a hole 6 feet under already, and it done rained biblical before. That ain't no thing. Me, I'm accustomed to drowning. That ain't no thing. I only played dead. My flesh turned to folklore while I travel with the blotted sun on my right hand. No penny to my name, no name my own. Most times carrying nothing but my heart in my throat. Followed the drinking gourd, dry inside and out, but giddy with the taste of something intoxicating just within reach. And the stars at their most drunken and volatile harangued the night so and setting it to jumping out its skin. And I took it for mine, because I look good in black. Shook the overseer's moon, fastened possum to my back. And the last thing I recall, that lone star swinging, the signal lantern on a hitching post before going underground. Freedom. That's it. Freedom. I'd bet my own laughter on that horse, y'all, and come up grinning. Come up grinning every time. Because I know a man with a joke writ upon his soul. Writ there by me. Something he don't get, but can't get rid of. A trickster tattoo. And the mystery of my mojo, how John the Conqueror wrote. You'll recognize who this one is about. See, carpentry was his mama's idea. She thought he should have something to fall back on in case the savior thing fell through. Old Joe taught him the art, thought secretly, he hasn't the touch. I can only put nails in his hands, show him how to take the measure of timber. Well, miracles will come, sure enough. The question of craft remains. And this party is long since full, but one more squeezes into the crowd, already drunk. Shove over, he says. There's room enough for all of us on the head of this goddamn pin. Shameless plug, I have copies of my book for a tenor for Living the Dead in Americans, if anybody wants one.
All right, and he has a book. Check it out. All right, thank you. All right. Oh, boy, I won't tell that joke then. I'll probably get mad at me.
Go on, now you got it.
Okay. Jesus walks into a Motel 6, throws 3 nails on the counter and says, hey, can you put me up for the night?
Oh, man.
You asked for it. They're like, yeah.
I like the joke.
Yeah, whenever I say I have a joke, probably it's best to say, you know, Dan,
I've heard that before.
have you? That's great. Wendy, then Cesar, then Al coming back. So my dearly beloved is coming up here now before you, very astonished eyes. And I will set the mic.
Oh, thank you.
Is this good? Oh, no, it's a little higher.
Ta-ta. Good?
Yeah, it's
Good.
I first want to read this little partial quote from Nelson Mandela. Because I was on uni today, and a 5-year-old boy was having a hard time with his mom, really yearning, really going, really needing, and his mom was trying to help him on the bus. And everybody's staring, and this lovely mother squatted down next to the little boy and got in his world and talked to him about all his eager ideas, and the whole thing just calmed out, and it was so beautiful. It was just very touching and very healing, like instantaneous. He just like, not without 1 second of hesitation, just squatted down, started connecting with the kid at his level, and the kid calmed down. He wasn't, you know, feeling uneasy anymore. So it was great. But this reminded me of that memory. So it's just a partial quote. I didn't keep it. But to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. And that's Nelson Mandela. And I thought of that little boy that she helped free from his anxiety, and the mother that she helped free from her anxiety about the crowd watching her kid have his meltdown. So anyway, this is a poem I wrote on a day that turned out to be very beautiful on our last anniversary, and it touched me so much. I just wrote this poem. A day to remember. Today we shall have no worries. There will be an absence of to-dos. No need to tend to computers and information exchanges. The telephone is not important right now. Let whatever is out there be out there, and we be here, at home in ourselves, at home with each other. We can take the day off from the usual. Life is eagerly awaiting our agreement to join her, relax in her arms, laugh away the old concerns, enjoy the presence, the peace, the magnificence without the mind. It's true, we shouldn't believe everything our minds say. What an agent for bliss or purveyor of woe. Sometimes it's so obvious we are run by our minds and not by ourselves. Something inside of me knows more than my mind. Something inside of me notices there is more than my thoughts. There is something else besides these thoughts that have been filling my mind through a lifetime. Something inside of me senses there is something between all these thoughts, something spacious and real. Oh, my mind, you do not know me. I am more than you see. I am more than you hear. Listen, you may hear my song, the song of who I am, the song of who we are, the song of life singing itself through each of us as we truly are. And this is a poem that came out of a day where I couldn't get my poem to come out. So I wrote a poem about that. Almost the poem. Way, way down here, in here, down deep, ready. Something inside offering itself way, way where the gift is, deep down. It is singing a song, ears not yet hearing. It is blossoming forth its bloom, eyes not yet seeing. It is pressing upon my heart, hands with pen not yet touching the paper. Ah, the fresh fragrance of it is making my mouth water in here, ready for the birth of it. This is a little, I don't know what to call it, maybe a little ditty or a little more than a ditty about our love. It's not like that. It's not a magnanimous peace or anything, but our love. The innocent first meeting, the friendship of that dawn, the glee of each anticipation, the yearning when apart, sharing thoughts, time disappearing, two hearts dancing in delight, the sweet surprises we created, keeping love's bright fire alive, the awesome beauty joining despite unexpected trial, as moments of conviction blessed the slips and falls that came. With every season passing, feelings flowed to guide our sight, no matter what, no matter how, becoming us, or better yet. Older now, but wiser, mindful too of every good, life's full of love's sure light, and sharing sweet surprises, shining bright.
Wendy, the one and only. She still likes me.
Even after your jokes, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see a young couple.
Young, thank you for the young. Okay, the next set of readers we have Cesar, Al, Garrett, Hal, Buford, Sally, and then Richard, Sander, Elm. As the clincher, closer, super duper bulldozer, knocking us out at the end. As we say, as we like to say. Well, give a nice round of applause. We talked about you before you came here, Bob.
Oh, man, really?
He brought it up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read someone else's poem.
Okay.
This is from the current issue of the Haight Ashbury Literary Journal.
He has some in there.
Yay.
But it's not, it's by Mike Horan of Ventura, California. And since it's raining, I thought I'd read a poem about the rain. It's called Tell Me You Love Me in the Rain. On our walk back from the liquor store, you could squeeze my hand just a little tighter, as if I'm feeling better. On our way back, you could point out that we're coming up on a puddle. Steer me gently away from it. Maybe ask if you could carry one of my damn paper sacks a block or so. The beer would taste so much sweeter. But we walk in sidewalk silence, two disheveled people thrown together by this September rain, tossed into one another's boozy desire and the panic we'd suffer if apart. So, tell me you love me. So, these are my poems. This one's called Ocean Stones. Oldest children of the ocean, they drift on the mother's floor, then appear on beaches alongside infant shells. Beaches, borders of surrender between sand and desire, border of surrender between inhale and drown, where stones breathe first air, as waves above them push them to cross, as waves above them push them to me. Jewels of Eve, bits of fossil rainbow, Ur, mother of ruby, Ur, mother of emerald, perhaps fallen from mosaics of a queen's underwater room. These keepers of mystery, older than the moon. I forsake all shells, those delicate tokens favored by beachcombers, beauties held fragile, mouths held to your ear. They talk to you, but cannot breathe what they do not know. From the sand, I grasp the stones and bring them home. There they nest on my windowsill, alongside feathers, alongside bones. Ocean stones, no longer ocean wet. Dry the salt crackers. Escaped are their colors, absent is their glow. Still I whisper to them, tell me of oceans, tell me of mysteries. But these are not the shells who speak a shallow language. These are their mother's children who do not answer me, a man who breathes only air. And this one's called Talk, as in the talk of TikTok. Talk. A minute hand ticks the full dial. It crosses the 3, the 6, the 9, the 12. But the hour hand is still. The hour hand is dormant. This day will not finish. This day will not begin. This morning will not finish. This morning will not begin. Water boils while trains are late to depart, while ships have yet to arrive. I wait. I wait for the phone. I wait for the letter. I wait for an answer. Water boils. The clock on the wall continues to tick. A sound of flea bites and to tick. A sound of scratches and to tick. A sound of scabs and to tick. I wait. I wait for the call. I wait for the mail. I wait for a question. How I long for the deep timber of talk. Mammoth bells and rhyme with the hours. Elephant hooves that pulse with the earth. Shadows of mountains tolling the day. Ebony sticks that fathom the beat. The sound of departures. The sound of arrivals. Thank you.
Says our love. Thank you so much. All right. We're gonna the next 5. We have Al, Garrett, Hal, Buford, Sally before our mini feature meeting. So Al Nightingale is coming back up. We'll have Garrett, Hal, Buford, and Sally. Oh, yeah. Well, let's see how it goes. Oh, that's right. That was the last time.
Recent time, it seems has passed. Rams and clocks have seized in the house, and life hiding behind the eyes is unintentionally nice. And I collect icicles of gold from draining pipes and yellow walls, words of numbering empty heads and of chewing someone's fat. I am in touch with moving bells of roses that November kills, with getting the night very, very black galaxies and piston wheels. In the medieval St. Petersburg, wow, I met with the devil. What will happen now? Plunged and insane, in his lighted carriage, he came in great hurry from the Svechno lane. Greasy, just like dandruff, merry eyes were good shaded by the apron of the lifted hood. In bottleneck, of course, fun, turmoil, and pell-mell, and someone to a horse is giving a camel. And the horses, did they go in the library and rustled through the folios by their wanted lips, gratefully squeezing the world among their sticky wings, and maybe not horses only, but centaurs.
Oh, thank you. All right. Mr. Garrett Murphy, and Hal. Give him a nice warm round. This is a wonderful post coming up. Thank you
baloney for sale. Obama's been in the Kool-Aid again. The blue line been shedding crocodile tears, playing sad songs to their millimeter vials about how they are now stocked by bills they have long stalked. So he signs into law Amber Alert for cops. Amber Alert for cops trust every oppressor to project themselves as victims as soon as they're exposed for what they're perpetrated. We all know what the real victims would call this one, see below. One would think if the Lions wanted to hear salami, salami, bologna, they'd have enough sense to visit the corner meat market. Only problem is they have to blurt it out themselves, and that would mean exposing their own hyperbole, especially with the bologna. Oh, where are the mules for a red alert, for the rogues among their bunch, or a missing alert for their own common sense?
Yeah, boy.
Addicted crackdowns.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a craving to punish simply because they can? Do you desire death penalties for looking out of the ordinary? Does the notion of collective punishment send you into ecstasy? Do you crave fantasy of maximum security prisons for accidental littering? If immediate about to describe you, you may be addicted to crackdowns. But not to worry, we have a brand new group for you, Crackdownies Anonymous, and you need not worry about exposition your identity on the part of our organization. Of course, we cannot assume responsibility for your identity being revealed by your own blatant action or addiction. Crackdownies Anonymous is especially recommended for bosses, parents, police, judges, prosecutors, presidents, governors, school superintendents, principals, and administrators of all stripes, and anyone else drunk on their authority. Crackdown addiction is not easy to overcome. It is the most sought after and popular addiction by far, having long surpassed love addiction in its appeal and food addiction in its difficulty to overcome. Other addictions trail far behind. Crackdownies Anonymous is still in its infancy, and studies have yet to be completed concerning its effectiveness. However, the time is long overdue for an organization such as this. Our prisons, shelters, and asylums are far too many casualties of crackdown addiction, and there are many casualties out on the street as well. And you may already be one of them. Never mind knowing one. Join Crackdownies Anonymous. Crack down on crackdowns. Sorry, Charlie Hebdo. You claim that you're a revolution, but well, you know, you claim you want to change the world. You hide behind the Constitution, and well, you claim the right to freedom of speech and artistic expression. As per the fact of the destruction of pride or self-esteem or ethic or yes your own, all sane folk would and should count themselves out, and ridicule should never be considered alright. Griffith claimed to be a revolution, and well, you know, some would say his bill was free express. Some don't break in a revolution, and what it was said, they wanted us comfortable with our prejudice. But as for the claim that I am, you are, they are, we are, all I can tell you is, no, sorry, I am so not you, Charlie, and the slaughter you suffered was definitely not alright. You see, schoolyard bullies prey on those less than them, using satires and masks by poking fun at others for immutables that cannot be changed, such as race, religion, or disability. Gifts that keep on giving forever and ever, especially when you are far from the other. And just as for example, some boys in a set with a tiger named Tatiana, they poked and poked and poked and did more poke and poke and poke till finally the tiger got fed up with it and responded, "One as a boy will never taunt again." You wail, but it's just some cartoons made in just good, clean fun of Muhammad. Where have we heard that one before? About the time of the little black Sambo, or those of the minstrel shows? Possibly it was the spirits from Ebony. Or was it about the so-called engines? Or maybe the Chinaman? Maybe the Jewish moneylender or mother? Perhaps the commercials of Frito Bandito? Or the long overdue Redskins? Or perhaps simply all of the above and more. You've called for the revolution of free speech and artistic expression, but when looking for a symbol of such Mr. and Miss Charlie, methinks I'll look elsewhere, where you and your own conveniently forget to consider one and paraphrase. With great freedom comes great responsibility. Kin is no synonym of should or must, and I'd rather not have folks too comfortable with their prejudice. Too many such people have acted on that comfort. Among them Griffith, Wallace, Hoover, Connor, Bobbis, George Zimmerman, Darren Wilson, Daniel Pantaleo, and your colleagues' killers. Killing your colleagues was not alright, and neither is killing one's pride in oneself, even for what you claim to be freedom of speech or artistic expression.
Sweet.
Yeah. Garrett Murphy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. You read a couple of my favorite pieces. A slight change in order. We're going to Al, then Sally, then Buford, then Richard. Slight change in order. So Al, give Al a nice round as he comes up here, please. Al, a little of it. We call him Hal the Magnificent. Behind his back. It's inside behind his back. He isn't here.
The Fairies by William Allingham. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we dare not go a-hunting, for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore, some make their home. They live on crispy pancakes of yellow tide foam, some in the reeds of the black mountain lake, with frogs for their watchdogs, all night awake. High on the hillside their old king sits. He's grown so old and gray he's nigh lost his wits. With a bridge of white mist Columbkill he crosses on his stately journeys from Slave Leg to Ross's, or going up with music on cold, starry nights to sup with the queen of the gay northern lights. They stole little Bridget these 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. They took her lightly back between the night and morrow. They thought that she was fast asleep, but she was dead with sorrow. They have kept her ever since, deep within the lake, on a bed of flag leaves, watching till she wake. Up the rocky hillside, through the mountains bare, they have planted thorn trees for pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig one up in spite? He shall find the thornies set in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we dare not go a-hunting for fear of little men. We folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Tears, idle tears, by Tennyson. Tears, idle tears, I know not what they mean. Tears from the depths of some divine despair rise from the heart and gather in the eyes when looking on the happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. Fresh as the first beam glimmering on a sail that brings our friends up from the underworld, sad as the last which reddens over one which sinks with all we love below the verge. So sad, so fresh, the days that are no more. Ah, sad and strange as in dark summer dawns the earliest pipe of half-awakened birds to dying ears, when unto dying eyes the casement slowly grows a glimmering square. So sad, so strange, the days that are no more. Dear as remembered kisses after death, and sweet as those by hopeless fancy feigned on lips that are for others. Deep as love, deep as first love, and wild with all regret. Oh, death in life, the days that are no more. And finally, a poem from Drayton, who wrote during the 16th century, who was most known for the Nymphidia, a long epic about little tiny knights that ride grasshoppers, and it's a lengthy poem, not read much today. But he did write this strangely modern sounding poem also about breaking up from a romantic relationship. Since there's no help, come, let us kiss and part. Nay, I have done. You get no more of me, and I am glad, yea, glad with all my heart, that thus so cleanly I myself can free. Shake hands forever, cancel all our vows, and should we meet at any time again, be it not seen in either of our brows that we one trace of former love retain. Now, at the last gasp of love's latest breath, when his pulse failing, passion speechless lies, when faith is kneeling by his bed of death, and innocence is closing up her eyes, now, if thou wouldst, when all have given him over, from death to life, thou mayest him yet recover. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Sally Love Saunders, Buford, then Richards. Slight change in the order of batting, or the batting order, the order of bats.
It's good to be back. You know, there's no difference between not being able to be here and thinking of you and being here. It's all one. I mean, I've been with you, and it's really extra special good to be here in flesh. But I have been with you in spirit, and it's good to see old friends, new friends, and it's like coming home. I was going through some books and came across this that I wrote, Dockside. My boat is in a harbor these days. It's rocking gently and not traveling anyplace. It feels good just to be in a harbor, with the charts folded and the compass ignored. There aren't any train whistles haunting me in the night. I'm not concerned myself about the morning, when the distant winds will call me and faraway sands will beckon. Questions of future plans, buzzing flies, I brush away. I'm not looking around the bend. There are no winds pushing me to move. It's enough for now to be very much nestled here in this harbor with my sails folded and my engine off. Soft winds lapping against the sides, so very soothing. My boat is in a harbor these days. It's rocking gently and not traveling anyplace. I always think of San Francisco as vacation land. We would come out here for 2 weeks and then have to go home, back to work. You know, I really like being here all the time, and people go to all this traveling this summer. I think, lucky me, I don't have to leave. Old house. I'm an old house, which has heard generations of laughter and lots of delicious sounds permeate its wooden beams. The ticking of things to do has stopped. I'm away from my desk and lists. Portraits of the very dead look at me. A writer's workshop is not her desk. My desk is like taking a kid to the circus and asking for this and that. Poetry isn't born out of the here and the theirs. Poetry lights on my shoulder when there is time and space. Good to be here. Get goosebumps. I get goosebumps. Writers have looked out of windows of all kinds of rooms throughout the ages. Cave paintings looking out, cave painters looking out caves, and drew animals they saw on the walls of the caves. I'm seeing tons of rain sifting down in a parade of thunder and lightning. It feels cozy in here, even though the fireplace is asleep. I'm enjoying the symphony of rain, glad taking time to listen to the music of the rain. Old hurts running swiftly down the drain. saying, I don't know if they're any good or not. If they're no good, just tell me to stop and I'll stop. It's just this nervous, twitchy habit I have when I've got something to say, I have to write. You know, it's just it's like I need to write about being disappointed. Need to be able with my pen to blow the congested nose of my heart over and over until free of the congestion of loss, of what could have been. Expectation turned into stuffed up loss, stuffed up dried hopes, and dried up plans. I showed it to the person that created that and he told me I was crazy.
Well, so?
I said, well, I'm cracked, but through the crack comes light.
Well, there's a famous poet that says, God keeps on breaking your heart until the light shines through. Somewhere, some famous guy.
I think he's crazy.
Yeah, well.
This is called Mr. Later. Mr. Later. He's too busy to hear my knocking. He says, later I will open the door and come out, but later never comes. The best I can get is a later. Why doesn't he just put a no vacancy sign up? But he's too busy to hear my knocking and too busy to put up a no vacancy sign. He is Mr. Later. Mr. Later is too busy to hear my knocking and let me in. So I need to stop knocking and just move on.
Yeah. There you go. Hallelujah. I did that. Thank you, Sally. Sally loves songs. She is a poetry therapist, by the way. She's renowned in that field. And now, Buford Button hasn't been here in a while. Give it up for him. As they say in France, and no, I haven't had anything to drink. All right, someone's going to say that.
Lucky. My life is complicated than it isn't. I have baseball by way of the Giants 6 months out of the year and poetry for all 12 months of it. I'm in great health apparently for my age, but I do things like fall down and break my hip. I'm still smart and vital, I hope, but get fatigued more easily because of my aging process. I'm lucky to be alive. Some people I knew have passed on, leaving me here to deal with life's problems. That's definitely fortunate. Union meeting. My union, the United Educators of San Francisco, had a meeting at Rosa Parks Elementary School in the Fillmore district this afternoon and early evening. One of my best friends, a teacher's aide who also works at Balboa High School with me, drove me after she encouraged me to come along with her. It was an interesting meeting in that a member was expelled for trying to, quote, steal money by writing his own check with the outgoing union president's signature already affixed to it. There actually were people who defended his actions, and because he offered to give back the money when caught jumping the gun. It would have been a legitimate check had he waited just a short while, but apparently he didn't have the time. So, after having justified his actions, something I didn't hear, he was sent from the room to complete the process. I started to say complicate the process, it's already complicated. I'm glad I haven't done what he did, and so I had to vote with the union majority to send the once legitimate member packing.
Ooh. I haven't heard about that, but I didn't know the details. Buford Bunton, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. All right. And now we have our mini feature of the evening. They have an 8-minute slot of time. That's one of the prizes. Person who comes up first, like Al Nightingale did, that's the keynote. That's one of the prizes. But before he comes up, I just want to point out a couple of things. If you want to get on the emailing list, I only send out one email a week, a little about what's happening here, so you put your name and your email address there. There's a flyer for a poetry contest, Maggie H. Meyer Memorial Poetry Contest 2015. That's online, you can find it, but there's a paper copy here.
Maggie H. Meyer, like a great poet from these days.
And then this is an announcement about a gathering of Ohlone people. There's a couple flyers here. If you're interested, please take one. But only
It's around the father of Jennifer Sarah.
Oh yeah, that's about Jennifer Sarah's murderous reign of error. And this right here is a copy, a live copy of the Poets One-Page Guide to the Open Mic Poetry Scene in San Francisco. You can take one of those again if you're interested. So, after Mr. Richard Sanderell is completely brainwashed into realizing the truth, us anyway, we'll take care of these fancy door prizes and move on to the adventurous future that waits us with every living breath and heartbeat. Did I say that? All right, so give him a nice round of applause as he comes up here. I am respected in the community. He's also suspected in the community. He hasn't been caught yet.
What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about anything. I just have no brains left at this late at night. Actually, I have several brain cells. They're just popping over here. Never mind.
It's the popcorn popping.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do a couple of coyote stories and a poem. I'll sandwich the poem in between. Coyote gets old. Coyote feels old before his time. He's been living so close with the two-legged way too long. He picked up some of the bad habits: too many cigarettes, sex, wrong kinds of drugs, sex, women mostly, a little alcohol thrown in, sex. Hard times for a young coyote can lead some astray, some say. He thought this would help him write with an edge like Bukowski, never realizing there's only one Bukowski. He would hang at bars spouting poetic lines while listening to the great Blanchard singing the blues on the box. Coyote never understood most women look askance, especially when it comes to male sexual prowess. Ask most women, they will tell you there are a few good men who can deliver. There are very few men who can deliver on the goods, but when they do. Sometimes Coyote is successful in bringing women to his side, but others would leave in disbelief, stupefied by the male ego. If you don't believe it, watch. See their eyes roll back incredulousness. Coyote looks at his nails, noticed they're breaking off. Not a good sign of good health. Got to get them manicured. He's no longer, that good looking with that toothy smile with the gap in front that drives surface people crazy. He's going to need dentists to bring that back. Hair, yes, but not where most male ego resides, on the head. Yes, a weave of some sort or cream is needed. Eyes and hearing still good enough, cataract surgery might be required. But this is bothersome to Coyote because his chronological age doesn't match all this decay. His youth still should be with him. He has to reevaluate. He lives the fool as some do. Time to desist. He begins eating better, getting his improvements done. His poetry and writing, some thought, made him a teacher, wise. Coyote said he did not pontificate, wanted to be just someone who passed on what was learned, offering his thoughts, nothing more, nothing less. Coyote considered going back to where the gringo says he should be, but he knew that would no longer happen. Too close, too long, too pampered. Coyote would adapt to survive, but he would never give up his nature. He puts on a dub guacaquanco, and Coyote dances.
Are you going to use your device?
Yeah, now I have to use the device because Even though my printer's finally fixed, I forgot to print. Gotta go with the device.
That's a nice device.
Yeah, no, it's popular. Night shines day. I get cloth, time to shine dark night that brings day. Glide as all things flow through starry-eyed galaxies. Meet my love. She studies, participates what life offers from the world, mind, body, soul. She has no reason to be forgiven. She does not see things as sins, but learnings. If not learned, repeated, tragic. She's ornamented with black diamonds that take away their radiance. When sun rises, the black of night remains with her. Stardust falls during the night onto her hair, winking at me as she circles. Mesmerize, draw me in. They wonder why I love snakes representing male, female, transforming cultures. Lose ourselves in eyes looking for that invitation to remain. One who binds you to the spell, transfixes, hypnotizes, enthralls, as the outside worlds die. Mesmerize.
Nice. Yeah.
And one last coyote tale. Much about coyote. Much said about coyote. Mostly true, some not. One wonders who's more jealous. Coyote broadens his territories in places never seen. As his domain broadens, he passes laws saying it is so. Familiar? Question. Did Coyote make laws first, or did it two-legged? Did they both come with it by their own? What's all the source of this activity? Coyote says he knows, but he's not talking. We're both great con artists, thievery on both of our parts, even from each other. That's what good thieves do. Call it giveaways. Coyote says he's only doing it to teach us a lesson. This is what some native people call Coyote Wolf, grandfather, one who teaches. There's a rumor that Coyote's cooking up a plan to take dominion over your safe places, right outside your doors. Coyote's got a lawyer. You wonder why is Coyote suing? Meanwhile, Coyote denies everything. Accused of influence, Coyote answers with a snarl. I don't need no stinking putrefied politicians. Coyote is a good trickster, master manipulator, but one foolish to believe his own press. Coyote becomes foolish. Ringo gets mad. He goes from 1 to 10 in anger in a 0.0000000.1 seconds. It passes you so fast it's in space before you even know you were hitting the ground. Coyote feels sandblasted. When native people call Coyote Wolf grandfather, I thought they said that because they were our ancestors. Ringo learned from the grandfather. They just forgot. Ringo always thinks he gets there to where he is on his own. Coyote always resented that. Back to the domain issue. When Coyote comes to town, he's tired of being harassed by the two-legged. It's only fair. You take the land from Coyote where he lives and gathers food. He comes to town to steal your pets for food. Time to turn the tables. Police are always called in. You know what happens then. Therefore, the lawsuit. Coyote says he's doing it just to make a point. I'll just do a very short poem. I don't know how many people know, but for some native people, the hoop is a sacred circle, 4 colors of humanity: Father, Sky, Mother Earth, male, female, and 4 directions. And if I say Aboriginal from Turtle Island, I'm talking about the original people of, as some native people call North America as Turtle Island. It's called Waiting. It was the African who turned me on. It was the Aboriginal from Turtle Island that gave me my heart. It was the European that gave me my sorrow. It was the American who sent me to war and tried to keep me ugly. It was the Vietnamese that gave me forgiveness. May I forgive myself. Come back to the hoop. The elders have been waiting.
Nice. Yeah. Put your sander on. Let me put you on the evening. Thank you. And now, we conclude concluding portion of any evening is when I take these fabulous prizes designed, like I like to say, with your mind in mind, and distribute them forth in a random, almost crazy fashion. If you were a reader, you sign next to a number. But first, did anybody who did not read want to? Because there were some people who came in just checking. Would you mind just shuffling these or cutting them? You didn't want to read, did you?
Oh, no, we're
Just checking because I had to ask and I didn't have a chance to do that till now.
That's okay.
But if you want to come back and do that, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. And now, Marge Piercy's Summer People. She's a great poet. I didn't know she did prose work, so I've read her poems and I've read parts of this, so there's good material there. Gary Hicks, who featured here some long time ago, Itching for Combat. I haven't read that. This is J. Tony Serra. If you know the kind of protest politics that happen in this city, he's been on various well-known court cases, but Walking the Circle, it's a set of short pieces about his work with people incarcerated. And then People for the Spirit, as you can tell, it's heavy reading, and it has poets from all over the place. Hundreds of years ago, modern, the thing is, like, I can't keep all the books I get, so I do this, I give them away. And if you're going to be here next week, you can pick a keynote as a prize, which means you're the first one up, you read a poem by someone else that you feel is important, like Al did. And then the mini feature is what Richard just did. It's 8 minutes, close to the end, near to the end, around the end, and you get to go on in a little bit of